some of these characters were seriously ahead of their time. Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 feminist characters in teen shows. For this list, we're not just looking at badass female characters, but ones who actually exemplify feminist values. Number 10, Jen Lindley, Dawson's Creek. When we first met Jen on Dawson's Creek, it seemed pretty obvious what her role would be. She was set up to be the bad girl to Joey's girl next door, and ultimately the other woman. But Jen bucked these stereotypes and gave 90s viewers plenty to think about when she defended her sexual past and refused to be ashamed of it.
Excuse me?
You heard me.
Yeah, I did, and you better clarify yourself right now before I rip your head off.
I'm simply remarking who better to understand a woman's need to have multiple partners.
Being that I've slept with half of New York City.
She also tried hard to befriend Joey rather than letting them become foils for one another.
Why do you have to be like this?
Like what?
So nice. God.
In one of her most memorable scenes, she gave advice to her daughter that is full of progressive ideas in the series finale.
Be sure to make mistakes. Make a lot of them. Because there's no better way to learn and to grow, all right?
Number 9, Donna Pinciotti, That 70s Show. Considering this show is set in the 70s, obviously, Donna had some pretty forward-thinking views for the time.
Eric, just because the guy pays attention to me does not mean he wants to get me naked.
It was always clear that although Eric mattered to her a lot, her own goals and interests were never going to stop being important. She never let guys manipulate her, or, God forbid, kiss her when she made it clear that they shouldn't.
Come on, I'm just goofing around.
No, you're not. Look, I'm up here with Eric, all right? Eric, get it? Not you.
She has tons of iconic feminist quotes throughout the series, but one of our favorites has to be when she defended women who want to pursue higher education.
Who cares? College is for ugly girls that can't get modeling contracts.
No, college is for women who don't want to marry the first idiot they meet and squeeze out his bastard moron children.
Number 8, Maeve Wiley, Sex Education.
I said, nice rack, Wiley.
Say that again?
Nice.
One of the most modern characters on our list is an unconventional and sometimes controversial one. Maeve from Sex Education embodies the classic trope of the bad girl from the wrong side of the tracks who has a reputation at school for being promiscuous. But as soon as you get to know her, she subverts much of what you've come to expect from a stereotype like this.
Don't you want to live happily ever after?
Please. Do I look like I have a Cinderella complex?
Though she has plenty of feminist moments throughout the series where she defends herself and other women, the most notable is in the 3rd episode of the show when we see her make the choice to have an abortion. It's one of the most straightforward and non-sensationalized instances of this we've ever seen on TV.
Did you know that at 6 weeks your baby can feel? Shut up.
Number 7, Jessica Davis, 13 Reasons Why.
You have to take back their power to make you hurt.
It should come as no surprise that current shows made for teenagers are much more woke than their predecessors from decades past. While 13 Reasons Why has been controversial for many reasons, one highlight is the character of Jessica. She's a survivor and forms a sexual assault advocacy group called Hands Off in the 3rd season.
Welcome to the first meeting of Hands Off Our Bodies!
Yeah! The group gets somewhat out of hand, and she doesn't always agree with their actions, but the intention was a positive one. She, unlike many others, also has a very progressive stance on what happened to Hannah.
I mean, I'm glad I ended up testifying. After everything, it made me feel stronger.
Number 6, Elena Alvarez, One Day at a Time. It's surprising that it has taken this long, but it's still pretty rare to see women be self-proclaimed feminists on TV. From the very first time we meet Elena Alvarez on One Day at a Time, however, we find out that she's outspoken about her feminist beliefs.
It's much more subtle now. Men assert their power through microaggressions and mansplaining.
Not only does she come out near the end of the 1st season, but also she is a vehicle for showing many of the issues that teenage girls have to deal with today.
And I've learned a lot about myself since you've been gone. And I've changed. Well, not changed, but I'm gay.
And she doesn't just talk the talk. She takes action time and time again to participate in protests and even forms a feminist gamers club.
The feminist gamers of Echo Park. We've been hanging out online and this is our first meeting IRL. Welcome.
Number 5, Bonnie Bennett, The Vampire Diaries. Aren't witches inherently kind of feminist?
Do you think I was born with these powers so I could float feathers and blow out candles? There's a reason I was called to do this.
Of course they are. Bonnie is a powerful witch in the Vampire Diaries, and largely uses her power for good, often enacting self-sacrifice. Remember that time she harnessed the power of 100 dead witches to increase her abilities? She also represents a badass woman of color on TV, even though the character in the book is supposed to be Scottish American and white.
I need a favor from you. I need you to think about me.
No.
I'm gonna pretend that doesn't hurt my feelings.
By hiring Kat Graham to play the role, however, the creators made the world of the Vampire Diaries more diverse.
You don't know what you're doing, Bonnie.
I know exactly what I'm doing.
Number 4, Veronica Mars, Veronica Mars. In all the most overt ways, Veronica Mars is a feminist show.
A cop that rocks? What will they think of next?
Veronica herself is a quintessential badass, a teenage girl working as a private investigator and trying to solve her own rape case at the same time. But Veronica isn't perfect and sometimes makes mistakes, even ones that are hard for the audience to process.
I suppose this isn't my smartest move. I don't care. I want him to know what it feels like.
In Veronica, we got to see the stereotype of the rape victim be turned on its head, because at no point is she a woman who needs saving by other men. After the police laugh her out of the station when she goes to report the crime, she takes matters into her own hands.
I need to report a crime.
Is there anyone in particular you'd like me to arrest, or should I just round up the sons of the most important families in town?
Number 3, Anne Shirley, Anne with an E.
A girl would be of no use to us, do you understand?
I can't say that I do.
I beg your pardon?
I don't mean any disrespect, but couldn't I do the farm chores even though I'm a girl?
That's not the way of things, and you know it.
But couldn't I?
If you read Anne of Green Gables as a kid, you know that Anne was an inspiring character who was never happy to act in the way that girls at the time were expected to. But in the 2017 TV adaptation of the series, Anne gets a more modern spin and is much more overtly feminist.
Keep your hands off!
In the very first episode, when Marilla expresses disappointment that Anne isn't the boy that they were expecting, Anne gives a speech about how she can do anything that a boy can do, and that the world should expect more of girls.
It doesn't make sense that girls aren't allowed to do farm work when girls can do anything a boy can do, and more.
Number 2, Brooke Davis, One Tree Hill.
You think you know me, but you don't. And that means you don't know what I can do.
At the beginning of One Tree Hill, you'd never expect that Brooke Davis would become something of a feminist icon. But as the series progressed, she shed her mean girl persona and came into her own. She was unapologetic for the person she was, and became a champion for women everywhere.
Over the last 4 years, I've been forced to grow up. I stopped letting boys define me, and I started believing in myself and in my potential. And I ran for student council president, and I designed a clothing line, and somewhere along the way, the lost little party girl became the girl on the wall of honor.
She encouraged the people around her to believe in themselves even against all odds, and without her mother's support, she managed to start her own extremely successful business. We know for sure that she's one in a million.
And whatever she thought she saw in me was wrong, because I am 1 in a million.
Before we unveil our badass top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
Academically, Lydia is one of the finest students I've ever had. Her AP classes push her GPA above a 5.0. I'd actually like to have her IQ tested. And socially, she displays outstanding leadership qualities. I mean, she's a real leader.
What, so because I'm white, things come easy for me?
No, it's just you've never had to deal with microaggression. Like, people always asking if you have an arranged marriage.
Wait, do you?
Case in point.
Okay, so because I'm white, I'm evil. Got it.
You just can't possibly know what it's like to live with a legacy of prejudice against you.
But one thing you can do is help me with a spell later to deal with my principal. So I can set up a club at school before my baptism to protect Susie and all the girls.
I'm not gonna leave you alone with that guy.
You make it so hard to be a modern post-feminist when you get so alpha male.
Are the Iron Sisters anything like the Silent Brothers?
For starters, the sisters' mouths aren't sewn shut. They're badass warriors who create all of our weapons.
Wow. I see why you wanted to be one.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Buffy Summers, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Sorry, but I'm an old-fashioned gal.
I was raised to believe that men dig up the corpses and that women have the babies.
In many ways, Buffy is the perfect feminist icon. Of course, there's the obvious stuff. She kicks butt and inspires us all to slay our own demons. But her character is way more complex than just being a woman who is physically powerful. In many ways, she embodies typically feminine characteristics, wanting to shop, look cute, and date boys.
All right, yes, date and shop and hang out and go to school and save the world from unspeakable demons. You know, I want to do girly stuff.
But none of that stops her from being an absolute badass. Her characterization shows you that you don't have to ditch your femininity to be a feminist. She also has a clearly defined sense of feminism that she displays throughout the entire series.
Okay, I'm basked. What are you doing here?
Not saving a damsel in distress, that's for sure.
Oh, you know me. Not much with the damseling.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.